Hi and welcome to COMX-TV. We're your weekly guide to the comic book universe.
I'm Steve Przybyla.
And I'm Mike Rizzo.
And this week I'm bringing you the interesting Neil Gaiman's Mr. Hero, A Man Called AX, and Breed 2.
And I've got some good stuff for you too, including I Never Liked You by Chester Brown, and we've got a dual review from Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada with Ash.
Never liked you either.
I never did. So, this is going to be a great show for you, so stay tuned and let's go right back to Steve.
Alright, this week on my mainstream reviews, I'm starting out with Neil Gaiman's Mr. Hero #1 from Techno Comics. Ted Simplak is the artist. James Vance is the writer, and inker is Bob McLeod. Cost is $1.95, which is still cheap for a comic book. A creature called the Technophage forged a dream from the nightmares of generations of unborn children, which ends up on Earth eons later, which is released and called Mr. Hero. Now this book goes in depth. A little reporter ends up finding this old crate which has Mr. Hero, who used to be an old mechanical boxer that was brought back. Now the head was taken off and the body was disassembled, and she found the body parts but didn't know where the head was. And she goes back to the antique store and sees a head on the top of a unicycle, and it turns out it's Mr. Hero's head. Puts it together and, oh, the adventure begins. The story in this one was very good, except they don't show this alien planet as much as they should, where the Technophage is from, Mr. Technophage. But all in all, this book was very, very good. This is one of Neil Gaiman's best stories. The artwork in this was very, very exceptionally good for a first issue. Techno Comics has been doing a lot of advertising that, and you see a little stands here and there, and I even gone to the show. I went to the show with my wife, and here's this Techno Comics advertisement stand, and they're selling comic books at the theaters now, which I think is great. All in all, this book I give an excellent rating to, and I think everybody should pick this one up. For my second book, I'm going with The Man Called AX. It's issue number 1A, not 1, but 1A. Why? I have no idea. Maybe they're going to have a 1B and a 1C. I don't know. Malibu Bravura are the publishers. Marv Wolfman is the writer, Sean McManus the artist, and inker is Boo Tones. Cost is $2.95. An ex-terrorist group called Silicon Peninsula Enforcers are out to destroy the Man Called AX. Why? I have no idea. They did not explain or why the Man AX is the Man AX. Maybe they'll explain in issue number 0. All in all, this book was very good. The artwork, as in most of the Malibu books, was very, very good. Brought a lot out in it. Very bright colors. The story was, like I said, it lacked something. It didn't explain it. But all in all, this book is good. Pick this one up. For my third and final review today, I'm going with Breed 2, #1 of 6 from Malibu Bravura again. Jim Starlin is the writer and the artist, and Electric Prism is the colorist, or puts the color on the book. Cost is $2.95, as in most of the Malibu books are. Raymond Stoner leaves the serenity of the monastery to find more secrets out about his life, and is hunted down by the Night Raiders. Now this book was very good all the way through, but there are some points I must bring up in this book. Malibu is well known for having a lot of graphic pictures in their books, but this book went over the edge a little bit with it. I was sort of looking for, after I read it, a mature reader's insignia on the cover, something to put on there, and wow, something to put on and sort of warn younger readers that, hey, this is very graphic. There was nudity in this book. There was a lot of swearing, a lot of violence, more violence even than the first Breed series. There's dismembered women. I mean, it was very interesting, but I'll tell you what, I'm very disappointed at Malibu and Bravura that they didn't put a disclaimer on this book that was for mature readers, because I think maybe parents should check something out before a little 8-year-old kid goes into a store and picks this up and he sees the stuff. All in all, the book was very good though. I would recommend it for mature readers, and that's it for my mainstream reviews this week.
Topping this week's comics news. Do you remember those 3D baseball cards that showed two moving pictures on one little card? Well, Skybox International has come out with the all-new Sky Motion card, which features a revolutionary new technology. This new card will be offered as part of a redemption offer in Star Trek Generations cinema cards. This new technology, developed by Kodak, is capable of displaying 24 frames of motion on a single card. You get 24 pictures on one card. Get an idea of what that would look like. The Sky Motion card takes bonus card technology to the next dimension by rendering an entire series of motions on one card. Star Trek Generation cinema cards, scheduled to be released December 7, 1994, will include a limited number of redemption cards, which collectors can then exchange for the exclusive Sky Motion card. As with all redemption offers, this is a limited offer, so don't spend all your money trying to get that one elusive redemption card. Nothing is worth that much. Steve?
Yes. AC Comics, publisher of titles such as FemForce, releases its latest entry into its horror house line, House of Frightenstein, featuring offbeat thrillers written and illustrated by the great Dick Briefer. Briefer created his own unique and grotesque version of the Frankenstein monster in the 1940s. One of the classics is the monster's mate. The monster finds a circus freak who is every bit as ugly and rejected by society as he is. Offbeat horror at its best. House of Frightenstein #1 is 36 pages with a story and art by Bill Black for $2.95, coming in December from AC Comics. Check it out.
The first new Rocketeer story in more than 3 years is finished and ready to ship. The comic, The Rocketeer Adventures magazine, completes the three-part story begun in 1988 entitled Cliff's New York Adventure. Dave Stevens, creator, writer, and artist of The Rocketeer, spoke of his work with Disney. The deal I struck allowed me great involvement in the Rocketeer film. While I'm thrilled with the results of that collaboration, it did draw my attention away from the ongoing comic book series. In this latest story, Cliff Secord, also known as the Rocketeer, has to stop the brutish Lothar from killing a magician named Orsino. Find out what happens when Cliff tries to save the magician and Lothar tries to murder him. Plus, find the truth behind Cliff's troubled past. The new book from Dark Horse Comics will be shipping January 31st, 1995.
Malibu Comics, the new company Marvel Comic owns, has announced that the title The Man Called AX #0 will debut in February 1995. The Man Called AX is a 6-issue miniseries from the Malibu Bravura line that includes 5 monthly issues and the number 0. This issue fits between The Man Called AX #3 and The Man Called AX #4, shipping in January and February. The Man Called AX is written and illustrated by creators Marv Wolfman and Sean McManus. In the number 0 issue, we learn the truth behind his name. Series writer Marv Wolfman had this to say about the number 0 issue. Unlike most books, where a number 0 issue is done for sales because they couldn't figure out how to do 2 number 1s, I began writing with issue number 0 first. I realized that this entire back history couldn't have been revealed until I reached a certain part of the story, when AX discovered a certain clue. Wolfman and McManus took The Man Called AX to Malibu Comics so they could retain control of the series. The Man Called AX #0 ships in February with a wraparound cover by McManus, so check it out.
And it's time for the independent comic book reviews. Hopefully they're going to be a little more exciting than they were last week. First one I've got is Brooklyn Dreams #1 from DC's Paradox Press. This is by J.M. DeMatteis and Glenn Barr doing the art. $2.95, possibly, not sure what the price is. This is another of DC's Paradox Press books. It starts out with a man sitting in a chair telling a story from his youth. The artwork in the beginning looks realistic until we get to the part in the story where it is actually his youth and it becomes a comical exaggeration. The story is about Vincent Carl Santini. It's his youth. He's got some stories in there. It's entertaining. The 4 books in this series will be 96 pages each, which is huge. And it's going to be a black and white series. The new Paradox Press imprint from DC Comics appears to be on the right track, as this non-superhero title, Brooklyn Dreams here, is a title worth reading. It's shipping on December 6, 1994. Next on today's menu, I have I Never Liked You, the trade paperback from Drawn and Quarterly by Chester Brown. This loosely autobiographical story is taken from Brown's Yummy Fur pages. Issues number 26 to 30 encompass this book. Drawn and Quarterly feels that this is a good book, an introduction for people who don't normally read comics. Well, I will agree to a point, but it's not a book that if somebody is a superhero tending person, they wouldn't like this. Not at all. Steve probably might not like this.
Probably not.
Let's see. But the story is very good. It's a story from Brown's youth. Again, we got another youth story here. It's basically about girls, love's lost, love's found, love period. How he deals with it. Many of his pages have one panel art. You got a whole black page with one panel right in the middle or at the bottom, but it works. It's kind of neat. Brown exaggerates many body features, long, skinny arms to exaggerate his youth, and some other female parts are exaggerated and stuff. I enjoyed the book a lot. I thought it was really good, and I read it in 1 or 2 short sittings. You read through it pretty quick. He spends most of the story not swearing, and all these other people are trying to get him to swear. So it's kind of neat. It's a good book. I like it. I didn't think I told you. It was $12.95, which is a bit pricey. It's $14.95 Canadian for all you Canuckers. The next book I've got is Seventh Millennium. It's issue number 1 of 4. It's from Allied Comics.
Eh?
Michael Walters and Austin Janowski are the writers, with Phil Giuliano doing the art and Austin doing the inking. It's $2.50. This bi-monthly book from Allied has what every action fan wants. Action, of course. Then we've got mystery, suspense, adventure. We've got everything in this book. Phil Giuliano puts some nice pencils to Walters and Janowski's tale. It's set back a few years, actually quite a few years, like 100, couple hundred, when horses and swords were the norm. People went around chopping each other's heads off and stuff. It's a nice tale involving a bumbling kid, bounty hunters, and evil baron, all wound together to create an enjoyable book. Good reading, pace is just right in it. There's nice artwork. It's worthy of many independent titles. And Seventh Millennium from Allied Comics out of Utica, New York, 1805 Girard Avenue, 13501 if you're looking to pick it up. And lastly today I've got Drawn and Quarterly. It's Volume 2, Number 1 from Drawn and Quarterly Comics. It's an anthology series at $5.95. It's an excellent collection of stories from a variety of creators. Jacques Tardy opens the book with a nice tale called It Was War of the Trenches. It's about 2 enemies that find each other, and they're sort of kind of friends, but they can't be friends because it's a war. Also included is a tale by Carol Tyler about a sister that she never knew because the sister died before she was born. And there's also a story Without Words by Avril and Petit Roulet. If you're wondering why these are so many French names, it's because Drawn Quarterly is out of Montreal, Canada, which could be a good reason. All the styles vary greatly, yet they all fit together quite well in this book. It's printed on high-quality paper with a fold-out, harder stock cover. It's a nice book, but I do believe it's a bit overpriced at $5.95. I mean, you're paying for the looks. Good book. Check it out. That's it for the independents. See ya. I'll tell you what.
I'm going to tell you something, Clay.
What is it, Morg?
I'm better than you. I've always been better. I can beat you, Clay. Now you hit it. And you better hit it fast. I won, Clay. I won.
This is Dual Review. Each and every week, me and Mike will take a book. We both read it, and we both give you our decision, what we think about it, if it's worth buying or worth trashing.
Yes. And today, in the trash bin, we have Ash. This is #1 from Event Comics. It's by Joe Quesada. He's the writer and the artist, with Jimmy. His name is Palmiotti, but as Steve says,
Palmiotti.
Palmiotti. He's doing the ink. It's $2.50. This is the first book from Palmiotti and Quesada's new company, Event Comics. Okay, I give him credit for starting a company. But everybody starts companies. I mean, we started the company. Doesn't make us any special.
No.
I like the story at first. I think it's a pretty neat story. It's about firemen. It's a group of firefighters. They're in there. They're fighting fires, and it looks good. Can a story on just firefighters survive? Maybe not. I thought it could. You know, I thought it looked pretty neat. But as we're rolling through the story, we find out that apparently the guy named Ashley turns into some freaking superhero. I mean, it's all of a sudden he gets burned to a crisp. They walk in the room, you know, he's in the hospital, and he's sitting there, and he's fine. And it's like, wait a second here, what's going on? He's got some kind of fire powers. Well, I think there's a few characters that have fire powers nowadays. I've seen a few of them.
The Human Torch.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. There's a couple.
Johnny Flame.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. Yep. Johnny Flame.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Yeah.
He's got little flames on it.
But he gets a new costume
Bic.
and Bic Lighter Man, and they go. By the end of the story, you know, I'm really disappointed. There's a lot of color. The artwork is great. I've read some reviews from other people who didn't think that Quesada did that much, as much as he could have, considering it's his own title. But I thought the art was good. It's a typical superhero book, and don't know if it's going to be a team book. It looks like it's going to be just like a single guy. By the end of the story, he's going out to try and save people's lives and stuff. There's too many pinups. It's an overworked superhero concept, as we were just saying. You know, there's enough of these fire people. This is a big loser in my book. The fireman story looked good, but they blew it.
Look at that, it's a full art cover. Well,
Oh man.
here, you want some toilet paper? Well, like Michael said, I sat down, I opened the book, I read about 4 pages, and I walked away. I came back, opened the book, read 4 pages, walked away. The second it got past the fireman story, I couldn't make heads or tails of this book. This guy's sitting in his living room with 2 friggin' cats. Poof! The whole living room goes up in flames. Then he wakes up, and their cats are just looking at him like, what the hell's your problem? And this book, now, Palmiotti and Quesada, Palmiotti, they worked on Ninjak, and when they worked on Ninjak, the story and the artwork and everything was phenomenal. And then they tried spazzing out on their own with Event Comics, and I don't think this is going to make it. I think this is going to be another company that's just going to be there for a couple issues and fold. The story in this book, if you take a look at this guy's costume, it looks like Ninjak's. He's got all the little gimmicks on him, just like Ninjak did. He rides a motorcycle like Ghost Rider does. I mean, it's a lot of spin-off parts on one character. I mean, it's really, really not worth the $2.50 that they want for this book, because $2.50 ain't even worth the paper it's printed on, like Mike said.
Now, Bart Sears started his own company.
Babes and Boots.
It lasted a couple issues, and that was it.
It folded. And
he knew that he couldn't do it. He's better off working for somebody else. It's not that easy just to start your own comic book company.
They think because they made a name for themselves, they can go out and make a comic, and bang, everybody's going to run right out there and buy it. Well, I'll tell you what, this book, nobody's going to run out and buy it. They'll buy it, and they're going to want their money back. It was terrible.
Another thing, the logo's too damn hard to look. You can't read Ash. It's too hard to see.
It looks like has. That's what it was, because this has been a book. It's a has-been.
This is a has-been.
I disagree. I say this book was terrible.
You disagree?
I disagree with anybody who thinks this book is good.
There we go.
It's not.
But we don't disagree, because we both
think the book is terrible. And
I give him credit. At least the artwork is good.
The artwork is good. The color is good.
Yeah,
high grade gloss paper.
Right.
You know, but
we give him some points. But overall, it's not a book unless you're looking for another superhero title. Like you haven't read another 5,000 of them.
Yeah, there's only 5,000 out there, and between the 4,999 other ones and this one, pick one of the other 4,999 because this is terrible.
Yep.
And that's it on Dual Review this week.
And I'm back again in case you didn't want to see me. This is our 30-second mini comic review. It's called Strip Down, #1 from Shortwave Productions. It's by Garrett Izumi. It's $7.95. Woo-wee! Izumi received a grant from the Xerox Foundation to produce this interesting book. It's a collection of short stories. As you can see, the book is only this big. It's this big and this long. It was kind of neat, but $7.95. I don't think it's worth a penny at that price. He's way overpriced. I don't know what he was thinking of. That's it.
Woo-wee! Woo-wee!
All right, boys and girls, men, women, and children of all ages.
Fish, dogs, cats.
Elephants, pygmies, iguanas.
Whatever your pets are that are sitting there watching Comics TV.
We've got some big news for you.
Big news.
We got some little things to tell you.
Let's
start out with Comics TV has broke the piggy bank, and we're going nationwide. Hitting up with American Independent Network. We're going to be in most major cities around the country. Mm-hmm. So, in several weeks, we will be everywhere. Everywhere you want to be, we will be.
You will see our faces.
Is there a commercial somewhere? Everywhere?
Something like that, no matter where you are.
Yeah, isn't that Delta Airlines or something?
Great. They're crashing from the sky, but we're not going to crash. We're going to be on
MasterCard, as Jim says.
100.
Everywhere you want to be.
We're going to be on in 104 cities, and I think we've done pretty good over the last 16 months that we've been aired. And we finally hooked up with some nice independent people, another network that really liked our show. They admired us, and they contacted us and said, hey, we want you on our network. And we're there.
We're there. We've got some good stuff. We've got Stabur is our first corporate sponsor, and we'd like to welcome them.
Hello, Stabur.
And we've got some other good stuff coming up in the early part of 1995. Comics TV will be presenting the first Comics TV award ceremony.
Yes, we will be wearing tuxes and everything for this.
Yes, we're going to have a regular award ceremony for all different categories, including the best mainstream book, best independent book, best inker, all that stuff like everybody has. But we're going to do it, and we're on TV, and we're Comics TV.
Yes, the one, the only Comics TV.
Yes. If you've heard of imitations, you've only heard of imitations because we're around, we're here, we're there, we're everywhere you want to be.
And we're big.
So, we're big. We're the only thing big right now is our heads, so.
Yeah, because we actually signed a major contract. And it makes us feel good, though, that there are people out there watching us. Thanks to you, you've helped us get onto the air and the other networks and that. And
yeah. Locally here in the Buffalo area, we're still going to be airing where you see us right now because
we will.
Locally, nobody picks up AIN. So, show's going to be a little bit different. Basically, you're going to get a little bit more than everybody else because we have to cut out a bit of the show for AIN. So, you're going to get a little hunk more, which is going to be your present for sticking with us through this time.
Yep.
So, I guess that's about all we can yap about this week.
Yep. And as we say each and every week, when you buy a comic book, read it. It's a reading tool. Like we brought up many weeks before, colleges and schools are using comic books as reading tools. Maybe parents should start thinking about using comic books as reading tools.
Not breed, though.
Not breed, because it was not okayed by the Comic Authority. But think about this, parents. If you set down a book next to your child, a regular book or a comic book, you can learn the same thing. A lot of great novels were made into comic books. Hey, read them. But next time you patronize your local comic shop, tell them you've seen it on Comics TV! Coming right at ya!
See ya.
See ya!
Bye.
Bye.
that? I don't know, but let's run it.
Spider-Man, Superman, they're all coming right to you. Ben and Bart, Archie too, they will all be here for you on Comics, Comics, Comics TV, Comics TV, Comics, Comics, Comics TV. Fantasy and enemy, what's it gonna be now? Alternative and mainstream too, here every week for you on Comics, Comics, Comics TV, Comics, Comics, Comics TV.